Good morning, everybody. Hello, my village brothers and sisters. How is everyone doing? I hope you are having a great start to the week. I know it's early for some people, very early. I understand. Even me, it's early for me, but as it dey hot, I say, you know what? I cannot wait for the end of the day. Let me bring it here fair. Let's catch up. Eh? Hey, Tony, Mr. Tony, welcome. Oh, greetings to you. Good to see you guys again. Oh my God. A lot has been happening. Plenty things don't dey happen. Hmm? Una welcome o. Abeg, as una enter, una know now. Una know, do the needful. Una smash that like button. If you never subscribe and you just dey stroll come, dey stroll go, dey stroll come, dey stroll, abeg subscribe o, subscribe. Hey, Mr. Emekaibe, good morning, greetings. Good to have you here. Thank you very much. Marcus, oh, you're the first to like go. In fact, whether you like him or not, God go bless you. Thank you so much for liking. I appreciate you guys. Please like, share. Okay. We're gonna jump right into it because I most likely will come back later on in the evening. Depends on how this goes. So let me start by. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Magnus. I appreciate. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. So let me start by let's start with this. Kene is not here. Okay, no wahala. I sure say Kene will come somehow. Kene, my village brother, greetings. Oh, greetings. Yeah. Oh, more things are happening, and I'm loving it. I am loving it. Okay, let's move this really quickly. All right. This is not the one I want us to listen to first. Let me. Can you guys hear it? Please let me know if you can hear. Oh, please, I want to make sure. I muted it now, but can you guys hear? When it started playing, did you guys hear anything? Please let me know. Can you guys hear? Can you hear it now? I was playing it earlier. You can't hear anything? That's weird. You guys can't hear anything? Can you hear me? Can you still hear me, guys? I'm talking now. Can you guys hear me? Okay, let me try. Let me try again. This is weird. How about now? You guys can hear it now? Can you hear the video now? Are you serious? You guys are not hearing at all. Yeah, 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 yeah. I laugh hysterically. What's going on? But you guys can hear me though. What the heck? Huh? This is. Let me try. Uh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, let's try this one more time. If you can, just let me know if you can hear the video, not my voice now. I want you to acknowledge if you can hear the video. Okay. All right. I'm gonna fix something right now. This is weird. This is the weirdest stuff ever. Ever. What the heck? Let me see. Um. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I'm testing with you guys. One and nervous. Una dey hear now. The volume on the audio is good on Arise TV. How about now, guys? I need to know. Sorry, I dey use una take dey fix this audio thing. This is shocking to me. Oh. Hmm? This is shocking. Oh man. Oh man. No kidding. Okay, all right, we ain't got time. Let me just switch devices. Since this thing not expecting self, let's switch devices. I am flabbergasted at the utter disrespect that this device has proven to be. Wow, it has shown me some disrespect this morning. Eh? Now I know when people say your media can mess you up. I can see it playing out right before me. What? Are you kidding me? Hmm? After all what we have been through, You choose today to mess me up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Eh? If you say na work, I don't fire this device. Like instantly. Fire. You're fired. So I for tell them. This is crazy. Mr. Magnus said nah. No, why I go break am now? No, I don't be break am. You tell the break am for no, Mbanu. It ain't happening like that. Oh, Mr. Magnus, thank you very much. Oh. You can use the super chat, really. The super chat, or you can use my PayPal. Let me just drop my PayPal account here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it though. Let me drop my while I'm pulling up my device. Can drop that. I don't have any my Gmail account for my PayPal, so you can use there. Thank you so much, though. I really appreciate it. You know, I really, really do. I do not take it for granted. I'm switching devices. So sorry for the delay, guys. I apologize. I sincerely apologize for this um, delay. Sometimes things just happen and you're like, what the heck? Are you seriously kidding me right now? That is what is happening. So I will be bringing it to you shortly. Please bear with me. Okay, we got this. So I'm about to switch devices. I shall be with you guys. Can you hear me, y'all? Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me now? Christopher, if you talk, say I don't dey drink fermented mango juice. Call the para for the. Yes, so you reach now. Hey, Mr. Kenny, welcome. Greetings to you in Germany. Oh my God. Victory all the way. Welcome, welcome, my people. So good to have you guys with me here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Eh? Hope we get right into it without further delay. Mona no vex. My sincerest apology. Apology. Let's say the talk apologianos or whatever. Can you hear it now?
Joining us now on the morning show is Peter Obi,
Gonna
2023
let me know
presidential
when
candidate
they hear
of the
me.
Labour Party and former governor of Anambra State. Good morning, Mr. Peter Obi. Thank you very much for joining us. Good morning.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good morning, Ruben and the team. Thank you very much for the honor of inviting me.
Well, quickly, yesterday we were discussing your message to the nation, and this morning Ayo has referred to it, that a new Nigeria is possible and that our situation is not hopeless. A strong message of hope. But this morning, I would like you to start by sharing with us how you have been lately. I've seen you in Princeton University, I've seen pictures of you in the East, and your thoughts on the cases in court, on the judgment, particularly at the presidential election petition level, and everything else, including this big issue about discovery for use of the president's credentials from Chicago State University.
Well, my first reaction, I will take it one after the other. Number one is the issue of how am I feeling. I feel very positive about the future of Nigeria, like I mentioned in my message. And I put it to people ask me about the judgment by this and everything, and I said, I remain positive. Because when I look at what is happening now, and comments of respected, highly respected, I would say, and less respected Nigerians, and Nigerians in generality, he underscores the erosion of value that comes to the heart of the urgency of building a new Nigeria, where things will be properly done based on people saying the truth, doing things rightly within the laws and behavior that is required of a modern society. So for me, I feel positive. On other areas, and maybe as we go along, I will clarify what is happening and everything. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Peter Obi. Now, just to ask you, because this is a big topic currently with regards to the fuel subsidy removal, the attendant effect on Nigerians, the response by organized labor. Yesterday, they met with the federal government and they said they were going on a mother of all strikes starting tomorrow if their demands were not met. I'd like to ask you a question with regards to what you would have done, because during the campaign season, you described fuel subsidy as organized crime and that you were going to remove it. What would you have done differently? So would you have still gone ahead to remove it? Would the timing have mattered? What would you have put in terms of palliatives if you had been elected as president?
Well, let me reiterate my position. And I said, fuel subsidy is organized crime, as it was being practiced even before. If you go and look at my tweet of September 19, 2022, and then read my manifesto, it showed clearly, manifesto about Labour Party, showed clearly the way we would have approached it. Fuel subsidy is organized crime. I've said this repeatedly, and that is going to be removed. I mentioned it during the campaign. I mentioned that what we are consuming is far above what we are supposed to be consuming. And if you listen to Governor Isaiah Guda's interview recently, he said that a friend of his who was involved in fuel subsidy gains and everything told him that it is criminal, that is even tired of making money through that type of crime. It should be removed. Which shows there's a criminality side of it and corruption side of it. Then if you look at, since the subsidy has been removed, our consumption is just about half of what it is, which again shows that what we are consuming. So for me, the approach would have been, and that's what I said, go and read my book, is to remove the corruption and criminal side of it, remove the excess demand that is not factual. By doing this, you would have reduced it by 50%. The remaining 50% is what would have been able to, after consultation with various stakeholders, been able to find a way to, in an organized manner, remove and showing the proceeds of the removal or the gains of the removal to be invested in a critical development areas, education, health, and pulling people out of poverty. People need to see that transparency of transferring from here to here, the gains and everything. And when you do it in an organized manner, with proper palliative that are well structured, thought after, not just haphazardly, you would have been able to see Nigerians go along with you. One of the things we are suffering with this announcement is what I can call announcement effect. You see, policies like these are not what you just announce haphazardly. There are things you thought through and everything. That's what we would have done as Labour Party.
Okay, so Mr. Peter Obi, I would also like you to sound off on probably some level of specifics as regards the kind of palliatives you have even put in there in the first place. What are the kind of targeted palliatives? And let's talk about this floating the naira, the exchange rate conundrum, where we are today. Things have gone really south. Formerly, naira to the dollar, we know the threshold as at 2015, but now it's over 1,000 naira to the dollar. The naira has taken a tremendous beating. What would you like to say about this? You've also talked about, fraudulent activities in the foreign exchange market and all of that. What would you do precisely, probably step-by-step empirical approach to the naira as we speak today?
Well, again, my dear friend Rufai, congrats, I heard you're now a doctor. So you're going to be more difficult on dealing with. So let me tell you, Rufai, first is that you can't float a currency you don't have supply with. It's like building a non-gated house in a criminal-ridden society. You have to have a defense mechanism. Nobody floats what you don't supply, you don't have supply. I believe, I wouldn't even, not just saying what we would have done, but I believe that now we have new CBN team. They have to look at the overall monetary policy, which, if they focus on their job, which is exchange rate, inflation, and everything, I know it is again not something you announce haphazardly. It's something you look at. Nobody floats his currency without having adequate supply. When you don't have adequate supply, there were pressures, there were criminality in our exchange rate regime. Again, we should have worked on eliminating those criminality and excesses in our foreign exchange regime because there is strong unmet demands. The naira was under pressure and a bit overvalued. Everybody knew that. So what you would have done is to devalue the currency. We were at 412, even before now, a devaluation to about 600 or thereabouts would have been it. We are trying to manage the supply by making sure that we deal with issues that is what controls your exchange rate. You find the simple thing is your reserve. And what controls your reserve is your export. You have avenues and things that you would have exported. You're supposed to export from your oil to other minerals to everything. is to encourage those things that will help to start dealing with issue of any more foreign exchange while trying to manage what you have, rather than just leaving it open and say market forces. I can tell you, not even in the developed world have anybody left this currency to market forces, because sometimes you might not control it, and now it's difficult to control because you cannot reverse your policy that you've set down. So that's why I said this is an announcement effect that would have been well thought through by a proper economic team and consultation properly before announcing. You don't just announce these things in a market square and say we're going to do this.
Okay, Mr. Peter.
Governance is different from that.
Mr. Peter, I want to get you right, and that's why I ask specifics. Are you saying we should have devalued the currency to over 600 and go to look for money?
That's what I would have done. Go and read my listen. Yes, I would have done that.
So you're saying that go to look for money?
I would have devalued the currency. Still stay where we in a management form, making sure that whatever is available is used by the real sector.
But
removing the criminality, I can tell you, I know in that regime, I know, yes.
Mr. Peter, but in all fairness, to this government, where will the money have come from for them to now be able to keep that rate, owing to the fact that the CBN report coming out saying that we are so encumbered that we probably only have around 3 or 4 billion in our reserves to be able to spare. So where will the money come to now defend the currency when we have a backlog of close to $6, $7, $8 billion in the first place? So are you saying you will have borrowed more to now defend the currency?
I'm involved a little bit in finance. And I know that in every country of the world, they're even trying to borrow money, even using a company. It doesn't matter what yes, you can do that. You are not borrowing to defend, just to defend the currency, but to stabilize it temporarily while you're working aggressively on your exports. It's not everywhere. We are not the first to do it. You can do that while you're working aggressively on your export, which if you look at what people are stealing and doing today, if we're able to do it, and remember what I said, manage the criminality side of it, like whether it's rand tripping, anything. If you do it properly, I can tell you, you would be able to do it. And also, removing the fact that dollar has become what you can call underground currency of our economy. It shouldn't be. We have a currency called Naira. So you should remove it. All these things that people are using the dollars to do, which are not productive, should be removed. If you remove it, I can assure you can strengthen the currency. But you have today, even if you want to do party primary, people are sharing dollars. If you have this, that is not our currency. And that should be a stiff penalty in dealing with that issue. If people earn it legitimately, let them spend it the way they want. If people are doing business and earn it, let them spend it the way they want. But in a situation where it has become even a means of, call it corruption and criminality in our system, we should be carefully manage it. But if any legitimate, like I said, even if you want to put it in your pillowcase, go and put it there. If you want to do it the way you feel you're safe, that's fine. But illegitimate one, if we remove all that, we can manage the rate. While we work on our export in order to strengthen our currency. Countries have gone through this.
Mr. B, to address the fallouts of the decision to remove fuel subsidy, the Tinubu administration has been taking a number of steps, particularly in terms of palliatives. 5 billion naira to the states to provide palliatives in the states. Teachers and workers in tertiary institutions have been told that their salaries will increase by certain percentages dated back to January 2023. Only yesterday, the president first said 25,000 naira provisional wage increment for 6 months for average low-range workers, but that has been changed, that no worker is low grade. everybody is important. So that has been increased to 35,000. 50 million households are to be given a total of 75,000 naira between October and December. Now, what are your thoughts on some of these steps, palliatives, that government has introduced or has promised to introduce in some instances to ameliorate the hardship occasioned by fuel subsidy removal?
Well, let me not go into. Let me not go into. I have not been opportune because I've been traveling to be able to read the details of yesterday's announcement. It was just on yesterday, and like I said, I was traveling all day yesterday, so I've not been able to look at it. The last palliative I know the president did issue was the one of when he did 75 billion to 75 million companies, and the one of I think 50,000 to companies. That it was the last one that I was involved or I listened to. And for me, the one of yesterday, for me, is the issue of the temporality of it. Because if I'm correct, he said this will last for 6 months. Or is it going to be permanent? Are we now saying we've changed or a minimum wage?
Well, it looks like there's a problem with audio connection there. We'll take a short break, and then when we return, the conversation with Mr. Peter Obi will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Peter Obi, 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party and former governor of Anambra State. Mr. Peter Obi, thank you very much for staying with us. Well, before we took that break, you were talking about the provisional nature of these 6 months, 35,000 naira for federal workers that the federal government promised yesterday. And you were raising a number of questions. Please go ahead.
What I said before is that if you look at what this government has been doing since inception, you could see announcements with limited thinking, which again produces limited outcomes. The temporality of it is like announcement effect. You're just moving, and suddenly, even just yesterday, like you said, 25 naira and 35 naira, that means it wasn't thought through. But let me go back to the one I said I listened to the announcement. A few weeks ago, they announced that they're going to do 75 billion, if I'm right, to 75 companies over the next 1 year. They've done 150,000 naira to what they call supposedly small businesses. I will call it, because it was micro businesses and things like that they're going to give 50 million. And then, of course, they've come up with this new one. When I looked at that one, my question is 75 billion to 75 companies. Are these companies in Ikorodu or the ones in just Kaduna or in Inewi? Because for a huge country like Nigeria, you're going to look, if it's looking at manufacturing outfits, you're going to be looking at about 10,000 companies, which for you to make any meaningful impact, you need to take about 1,000 of them and provide them the same 1 billion each, which will be about 1 trillion. If you talk about micro and small businesses, you have about 40 million registered and unregistered in that cluster, and they're your engine of growth. And if you're going to start creating jobs and start turning around things, 50,000 today is approximately $50. So what you need to do is to at least, there are 40 million, take 10% of them and give them at least 1 million naira each, which is $1,000 as of today, so that you can start meaningfully trying to even create two jobs by making sure that each of them are working. So things have to be done differently, and it must be thought through with proper consultations and economic team that have sat down and analyzed this. It's not just announcing that, oh, we've done this to states, there must be, again, a coordination between the federal, the state, and local government in trying to put through this difficult time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peter Obi. The questions we've asked you with regards to reviewing some of the policies or decisions by this particular administration, you seem to have some very sound responses to these questions. Now, the president in his inaugural speech had said that he was willing to work with opposition party members who didn't win the election to move the country forward. Has an invitation like that been extended to you? And would you be willing, for the collective good of the nation, to offer some of your ideas and options to this particular government to move Nigeria forward? And second of all, very important statement you made during your appearance at Princeton University, that the leaders in Nigeria must have the right qualifications. That can be a bit vague. When you say right qualifications, are you saying that they should upgrade the minimum standard for who would become president or governor from being just having a school leaving certificate, or qualifications in terms of bringing experience, what you bring to that office? So just those two questions. Would you be willing to work with this government for the good of this nation, because people are suffering, with your great ideas to work with this government? And second of all, what do you mean by right qualifications for whoever it is that should lead this nation?
Okay, let me go ahead and tell you. We are at a point where we're challenging the process. These are part of what makes a nation. The process through which people come into office or assume or achieve anything is far more fundamental than what they do thereafter. It is important that the people come through the right door and not just jump into through the window and start saying, okay, let's move on, let's clean it up, let's do this and everything. No. So we're challenging the process, and that has to come to a logical end before any other thing. And it has to be something that people will seemingly, that's why I said we have to begin by doing the right things. And not doing the right things is having the right process. On issue of qualification, I never said anything with regards to improving the degree or doing this. The issue of qualification is the issue of leaders making statements, doing things that are honest and truthful. This is an issue of honor and integrity. It is the foundation on which you build society. If you look at what is happening in Nigeria today, there's so many issues of certificates, age, all sorts of one falsification or the other, all over, within the leaders. There's no way people can doing this and be able to do the right things, because that means they live in a falsified life. And that is not good morally, and a sign it should be given to the society. There's so many great people in the world who did not go to school. And I can tell you, America today, one of the highest, or I would say the greatest president America has ever had, is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln did not go to a formal school. In fact, his entire education is less than 1 year formal education. because he came from a very extremely poor family. His education was by borrowing books and everything, which he did later. But he was able to show, if you read his history, you show that he came from a very poor home and did not have formal education. He didn't have to say he read the PhD here or he did this one here, and then there's an argument like what we're having all over Nigeria today, which is bringing the credibility of our nation into question. If you come to the UK, one of the greatest prime ministers is Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill is known to have had a poor academic record. In fact, his academic record was very bad that his father had to enlist him in the army. Even when he went to take an exam to be able to be enlisted into the British military academy, he sat it 3 times before he could pass. Eventually, he became a prime minister and became a great prime minister. You go to the corporate world, the biggest company we have today in terms of market value is Apple. The founder is a dropout, a school dropout. His history shows that. The second biggest company is Microsoft. At least Apple today is about 2.9, if I'm right, about 2.9 trillion company, when African GDP is about 2.9. So it's about the same thing as African GDP. The second biggest company is Microsoft, founded by Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a university dropout. He's written there. It's not, there's no question. The fourth richest person in the world, Larry Ellison, is a poor person. The mother had to give up for adoption when he was 9 months.
All right. So that's
So you don't really have to have all the degrees in the world to be great. But you need to be honorable about your past, so we can know who exactly you are and everything. The world are bound by great people who have poor past and no education, and that forms part of their greatness.
all right. We'll take a quick break, just so we can get back that connection. And when we come back, we'll continue to speak to Mr. Peter Obi, 2023 presidential candidate of the...
Guys, please like. You guys, thank you so much. Please, for those of you who have liked, thank you. And please don't forget to share. If you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. So let me put the video.
Party and former governor of Anambra.
Okay, great. So we have Mr. Peter Obi back. I just want to ask you 2 questions. Number 1 will be concerning what happened in Niger. What should we have done differently? Step-by-step approach, how we should have settled the matter of Niger out. And secondly, I want to also ask you, what would you have been doing to stimulate the Nigerian economy as we speak today? Because it's at an all-time low. And thirdly, I want to take you back to the last question I asked, because I want more clarity on that question. You said we should have devalued the Naira to over 600 and look for money to defend the Naira. How long could we have done that for, defending that currency, when we know that the factors, the market forces, are really hard on the Naira and it's just a matter of time? So those 3 questions, as we start to wrap up.
If I forget any of them, Rufai, I will call you. On issue of Niger, Rufai, I will not go. First, let me say it, I am completely against military intervention as a process of leaders emerging. Totally. I'm a believer in a democratic process and through an genuinely elected process. I know in Africa, at times you can actually question whether there's a difference between military coups and elections, what we call elections, the way we do it with the rascality. However, I'm a Democrat and I believe in democracy, and that should be the process. Will I go to war? Again, capital no. Reason being, I'll go, reason being that we have war at home. You cannot go to war externally when you have war at home. If you look at our budget this year, because I want to link it to what you said about the economy, our budget this year is 21.5 trillion. About that. Our revenue, expected revenue, is about 10 trillion, which means we have a deficit of 53.5%, which is about 11.5 trillion. That's what you're lacking. That is all. Rufai, I read from the present National Security Advisor that we are losing 400 barrels, 400,000 barrels of crude oil every day. If that is true, Rubai, if you multiply by our benchmark, which is below the pricing today, that's about $30 million a day. And you put $30 million in 1 year, it will be about $10.9 or $11 billion. $11 billion. About that. About $11 billion. If you say you use, we just said it's 1,000 to the dollar, but let's use 900. If you use 1,000, you have 11 trillion naira, which I know is not all your money, but what does it show? So you have a deficit of 11.5. You're losing about 11 trillion somewhere. And then what it then shows, Rufai, is that if you put this, consider illegal mining of our minerals all over the country by foreigners and locals alike, consider other revenue leakages that is coming, what it then shows is that if you fight this war internally and be able to deal with this, you can be able to generate a revenue of between 20 and 25 trillion. By the time you now decide to even borrow additional 10 to make it 35 trillion, which is where our budget should have been today, I can tell you, not only that have you reduced your borrowing to 30%, but all those things that are achievable. So for me, the only one Nigeria needs now is war on insecurity and war in economy. And I'm going to deploy everything that is available to ensure that we win it, because that is the core of our problem. You mentioned how we're going to defend the Naira. Rufai, if you today secure Nigeria, deal with issue of all revenue leakages, brought a bit of stability in it, I can tell you, you stabilize your currency. One is that you'll be able to export more and more revenue that will be able to increase your reserve and have available. You'll be able to have Nigerians all over the world bringing in their own investment, and you'll be able to attract foreign investors. You're going around trying to bring in foreign investors in an insecure war-torn area does not work. If you do the proper things, tackle the supposed problems, you'll be able to have additional funding not just to be able to manage. It's done everywhere, Rufai. And you said step by step and give you how will you turn around the economy. That's just I tell you. If you look at what I've been saying from beginning, moving it from production, from consumption to production, this is the way you start it.
Mr. B.
You first have to, government will tell you today, we are short of revenue, our revenues are not this. Rufai, if you do the right things, you will generate additional revenue. And the way to do it is step by step, what I'm telling you today. People will say to me, you said you are going to put 1 trillion to
Mr.
1,000
B,
companies,
if you can hear me.
1 million to 4 million SMEs. It will be 4 trillion. How are you going to do it? I've just shown you that if you're able to manage the leakages within your own system, you'll be able to generate more income, and your borrowing will help to ensure that you allocate up to 50-60% of your annual budget to area of production. And if you do that for a period of 1 to 3 years, you will see that you generate more revenue. The budgeting today, both for federal and state of Nigeria, should be a combined budgeting of not less than 50 trillion, which is just about $50 billion annually. If you compare the size of the country, and if you get it right, I can tell you,
Mr. B.
it is not as, it
Mr.
is difficult.
B, if you can hear me.
But you have to do it.
Mr. B, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're already overrunning,
I can
but I
hear
wanted to ask you a personal question. The Princeton event was in honor of Chinua Achebe,
Yes.
and you quoted him, playing on his
Yes.
statement. You said there will be a country. Again, optimism on your part. But about the same time, the Anambra International Airport, was named after Chinua Achebe. Quickly, if you can do that in 30 seconds.
What did you say? Just 1 minute. That's...
No, your reference to Chinua Achebe in Princeton.
Yeah. Well, if you look at my tweet yesterday, I congratulated Governor Soludo for naming the airport after Chinua Achebe. I said that Chinua in prison, I maintain that what Chinua Achebe lamented for 40 years ago is still there today and is worsening. Like I said, and I quote, he said, the problem of Nigeria is simple and squarely leadership. That there's nothing wrong with the Nigerian character. Nothing wrong with the land, water, air, or anything else, except simply the Nigerian leadership rising up to their responsibility, challenges of personal example, which is a mark of true leadership.
Well, on that
These are
note,
the issues we are suffering today. We have a situation where things are bad and needs to be dealt with.
Well, on that note, Mr. Peter Obi, we would like to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show today.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity software where you can manage every...
Guess that interview is over. Let's take it to the next one. Let's see. Let's listen to...
The ongoing litigation between Atiku Abubakar and Chicago State University, which Tinubu sought to join, and the judgment was delivered against him, eventually he appealed. Now the verdict has been delivered by Honorable Judge Nancy Maldonado. While making her ruling, apart from the reprimand, she made it clear she ordered Chicago State University to make sure they deliver all the documents that Atiku requested before noon on Monday, 2nd October 2023. Their oral deposition must be done before 5 p.m. the following day. On the reprimand, she told Tinubu that they will not entertain any further appeal, that it will be denied. Of course, he can go to a higher court, which is the 7th District Court, to appeal. But it doesn't look like he will get a stay of execution because of the timing. This is because, according to this latest ruling, by noon tomorrow, Atiku Abubakar will be in possession of Tinubu's academic records from Chicago State University. Looking at how swift the judgment was delivered, there's no way you can't envy the American justice system. No matter what you feel, no matter your reservations about what is going on in the United States, you can't help but give them thumbs up, because the judge was able to recognize the urgency of this matter. And if you look at the whole hearing, how she handled everything, you understand that there is a sense of judgment, understanding of everything. The deadline at the Supreme Court in Nigeria for submission of everything, all further evidence and replies, is on the 5th of October. So if that deadline passes, then all the effort that Atiku Abubakar has put in to the matter will be wasted. It was easy for the judge to make her decision, just like it was easy for Honorable Judge Gilbert at the lower court to make his own decision. Because looking at the two certificates, it's obvious that this one is forged. Chicago State University attorney also accepted that they don't know where Tinubu got the certificate from. And looking at CSU's website, this is a form that a former student can fill out in case he wants a new certificate or diploma, like they call it. So one wonders, why didn't Tinubu fill out this form in order to receive a new certificate from Chicago State University? Meanwhile, during the proceedings at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, he filled out this form. As you can see, look at the documents he requested Chicago State University to release to him so that he can tender in court to prove that he actually attended the school, which wasn't in contest anyway. One wonders why he didn't fill out the other form on their website in order to receive another certificate instead of downloading it from Pinterest. And looking at this form again, you can see that there is a checkbox for tuition records. Remember that Chicago State University said that they do not have any tuition records for Tinubu, that they do not have his international passport, that they do not have any information or record on how he paid for the tuition. So if they have this checkbox here, that means they must have the records. So why are they not releasing the records? Why is that of Tinubu different? So looking at all the controversies, you can see how easy it was for the judges involved to make their decision on the discovery. Also, Tinubu didn't help himself by arguing exactly the same thing on appeal. When one files appeal, it is expected that the person will focus on new information or mistakes on points of law from the judgment. But coming to appeal to make exactly the same arguments, the judge must have seen that this person is trying to hide evidence, unlike what happened at the appeal court in Nigeria, where the judges started making excuses on behalf of the respondents. INEC dodged subpoena. They even lied in court when they answered that one of the documents demanded by Labour Party wasn't available, that they do not have the document. In the end, their witness presented that same document that was requested under subpoena. All this happened in front of the judges. They didn't do anything. Instead, they started making excuses, manufacturing reasons for the respondents. Imagine saying that Shetima did not intentionally commit double nomination. This argument was never made by the respondents. How in the world did they manufacture a reason on their behalf? It's very strange. The judges never upheld any single relief sought by the petitioners. It's very strange. Instead, they upheld all the arguments of the respondents, including manufacturing new ones for them. So saying that they were biased is an understatement. Many people thought that 25% is the surest that they must uphold because it is written in the law in black and white. But they ended up rewriting that section of the 1999 Constitution in order to arrive at a predetermined destination. It is very, very shameful. Nigerians can get justice abroad, but in their own country, they can only dream of it. Look at Ibori. If Ibori was tried in Nigeria, he wouldn't have been convicted. Maybe a judge would have boldly released him, but he was jailed abroad. This article's case in Chicago, if it were to be in a Nigerian court, you already know what they will do. They will delay it unnecessarily. By the time they deliver judgment, it will be of no use. Justice delayed is justice denied, but that's not how it is applied in Nigeria. They will delay you into frustration. In fact, their attitude borders on relegation of duty. They know that this is urgent, but they will not act. Look at all the litigations that many parties brought before the inauguration. They threw some of them away. Some judges ran away. They were not to be found. Do your job or you make way for another person to do the job. It's as simple as that. Why should judges be afraid of delivering judgment? Are they waiting for other parties to respond in kind? It's very strange how they operate. Another thing worthy of emulation from the US court is the fair hearing. Despite it being obvious that Tinubu was making the same argument, the court still allowed him, they gave him that fair hearing. Everyone has a right to be heard, but you can only dream of that in Nigeria. When judges turn against you and start insulting you, look at the wording of the judgment, one page. But in Nigeria, they will insult the petitioners, not just reprimand, but outright insult. Imagine a judge saying, are we going to go to the market or social media to get evidence on your behalf? So they were too biased. They weren't even pretentious. The same electoral law they didn't want to uphold is the same law that other election tribunals across the country are using to disqualify candidates. Look at what happened in Kaduna. Despite throwing away the PDP candidate's petition based on technicality, they still looked at the matter on its merit. Yes, there's a lot of confusion after that judgment, but they actually upheld Obasani's win. While looking at the merit of the petition, they accepted that the failure of INEC to upload the results in real time affected the results in these polling units. So 2-1, they declared that INEC should conduct a rerun in this election because the number of voters in that area are higher than the margin between the two candidates. So they declared a rerun, but it will not have effect because already they have used technicality to knock off that part of the petition. So that's why the PDP candidate is going to appeal. So a bystander will be asking, is it not the same electoral law that appeal court judges said that it didn't matter, that there was nowhere in the electoral law and the Nigerian constitution that it mandated upload of polling unit results in real time? By 12 noon tomorrow, Atiku Abubakar will be in possession of evidence that will finally disqualify Tinubu. That's only if the Supreme Court will do the right thing. Remember that this evidence is not new. It has been in the public since last year. And this same evidence was submitted at the appeal court during the election hearing. But you all know how the appeal court justices threw away everything. So Atiku has gone to court to get this evidence in his own capacity as a candidate, directly given to him, not Enahoreba or someone else. So it will be interesting to see how the Supreme Court will handle the new evidence. That's why we keep saying that we shouldn't be blaming all foreigners or former colonialists for our problems. Look at how they did their own part. They didn't hide any evidence. They upheld the law. The judge said that the discovery must be made. Let's know who is lying. Let's know who is telling the truth. Corruption is the major problem in Nigeria and Africa at large. Let's see how the Supreme Court will handle the new evidence and make their decision. And be rest assured, we will bring you the bombshell release immediately we get them tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
My people, I don't hear them. Hey, I can't wait to. I don't know what time is it. I think it's like 11:21 in Chicago right now. I think so. I want to say it's probably that time in Chicago right now. I cannot wait. No, I'm trying to get you. Neka, my darling, welcome back. Romari, sweetheart, Romari, you're jollofing. Welcome, so good to see everyone. Amaka, welcome. Oh, how everybody did. All right, let's listen to this lady. I think it's a very important speech to listen to. I don't know, maybe most of you have heard it, but can you share this with me? So let's listen to it.
Her Excellency Mia Amotli, Prime Minister, Minister for National Security and the Public Service, and Minister for Finance, Economic Affairs and Investment of Barbados. I invite her to address the Assembly.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I'd like at the outset to congratulate my dear brother from Trinidad and Tobago for his assumption of the office of the presidency of this General Assembly. I'd also like at the outset to thank the Honorable Secretary General for his continued determination and holding us and the rest of the world to the principles that are sacred to this august institution. The truth is that the speech which he delivered at the beginning of this General Assembly can be wholesale by the government and people of Barbados because it reflects our aspirations and it reflects our view of the current status of the world. I asked myself on Monday night, as we met to determine the halfway point of the SDG goals, how many roads we have to walk just to make it to the door, only to be told that the door is closed. Those are not my words. Those are the words of Rocky Dawuni, a famous reggae artist from Ghana, nominated for awards multiple times. But his words ring because in a very real sense, are we going to trod the roads only to be told that it's too late? Too late for us to save as many as we can from the climate crisis. Too late for us to save as many as we can from the conflicts of war. Too late for us to be able to provide the food that so many need, as we reflect on the fact that more people are likely to be hungry in this world in 2030 than in 2015, or as we get to the basic numbers that 735 million people suffered chronic hunger last year at a time when so many others had so much to throw away and to use. Are we going to be too late for the SDGs that are really the promise of development and the promise of the conferral of dignity on our people? We have today to determine what is the will of this body comprised of the member states to make the fundamental governance changes that will deliver in the third decade of the 21st century. Our world, as you know, is replete with issues. And I don't need to stand here and recount them in detail, for you have heard them in almost every speech delivered from this podium. But what is the issue is whether we can summon the determination that is required of us to make the changes that are appropriate to the age in which we live. Our democracy cannot survive if we do not have the same facts. But yet we live in a world where the generation of fake news is almost a daily occurrence, and where people act on those premises without consideration for whether the news is true or not. The role that artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence will play in our world must be for good purposes and not evil. But if we are to ensure that is the case, then an appropriate framework for regulatory action must be put in place. We therefore support the actions of the Secretary General, recognizing that the question will come one day from some as to whether you sought to preserve our democracy or whether you allowed it to crumble, and whether you have failed us as individual citizens of the world. We ask that question, recognizing that AI is not in the immediate focal point of many, because the drama and the crises that surround climate is taking out all of the oxygen, literally, in the world. Those people who died in Libya recently were going about their business. They had aspirations. They had business that they were hoping to do, families that they were trying to protect. And in the flash of an eye, all of that came to an end. And not because we didn't expect it or anticipate it. The records of the multinational companies who are engaged in fossil fuels will show that they have always known for a considerable period of time the consequences of their actions. And while they themselves are not the immediate cause, the absence of technology to be able to limit what they are emitting is the cause. And by extension, therefore, they must take responsibility. We can go no further without an engagement of the oil and gas companies that is meaningful and credible. And we need to stop talking about it and just simply ensure that that kind of conversation can happen. But it is not just the oil and gas companies, and we have nothing against them. We do not want to bankrupt them. But their actions continue to have implications for too many of our people. Their actions are equally bolstered by what I call the fit group, the financial institutions, the insurance companies, and the transport companies. They get a buy or a pass because they are invisible to the transactions and to the activity that lead to the problems that the world is facing. But they too are as responsible and need to step up to the plate. The notion that we can preserve global public goods only with public money ignores the fact that we have seen for the last 50 years the absolute dominance of the capitalist markets leading to a consolidation of wealth, and hence the ability to be able to play their role must be summoned by the rest of us. We cannot continue to put the interests of a few before the lives of many. I ask us today truly to pause, because what keeps ringing in my head is that simple phrase, don't fail us now. Don't fail us now. And that phrase can come from that little boy or girl who is a victim of hunger, one of the 575 million people last year. That plea can equally come from those who lost families in the multiple crises across the world in the last few years. That plea can come from small states that may not exist in the future. I ask us, therefore, my friends, to ensure that we summon the will. We listened to the Prime Minister of the Netherlands just now, and he reminded us ably that time is not on our side. And if time is not on our side, what must we do? The truth is, we have made some progress. 2 years ago, the International Monetary Fund did not have a mechanism to focus on cause of the problems that led to massive macroeconomic instability. We now have the establishment of the Resilience and Sustainability Trust that for the first time will make funds available to middle-income countries that are vulnerable. 20-year money with a 10.5-year moratorium. A year ago, the president of the World Bank was questioning whether there was a climate crisis. Today, we have a World Bank that for the first time acknowledges that there should be debt clauses that are suspended, debt pause clauses as they call it. Our battle now is to ensure that those debt pause clauses are not just for future instruments, but for existing instruments. If not, it will not help many. So we have made progress, but there is still much to be done. The issues of debt sustainability cannot be left on the sidelines, particularly with the number of countries, more than 60 countries facing debt road today as we speak because of the polycrises. Countries being forced to choose between development and building of resilience to fight climate. In our small island states, we value education and healthcare and the dignity of life. And therefore, it will be anathema for us to tell our citizens that we do not have the space to provide for you those things that were the promise of independence. It is compounded by the failure of the developed world to accept that reparatory justice is a solemn obligation which we must confront. The conversation King Charles told us at the opening of the Commonwealth Heads of Government when he was Prince Charles was a conversation whose time had come, that of reparatory justice. But it can't be a slow conversation taken up when people feel like. It has to be a conversation in which equal partners discuss. It cannot be an act of charity of those who simply feel that their conscience must be cleansed. We were about to write the leaders of the European Union last year this of reparatory justice, and we paused because of the Russian incursion into Ukraine. But it seems as though there are not those who want to make peace there or elsewhere in the world, and therefore we have to lift our finger off the pause button and resume the discussions, because the development deficit caused by centuries of exploitation is now affecting our capacity to build the resilience that is necessary in our nations. Similarly, I want to thank, because a year ago we did not have the Paris Agenda for People and Planet. We had the Bridgetown Initiative, and the Bridgetown Initiative has allowed us to keep the debate going, because we need to change, as I said Monday morning in this hall, the belief that we can have short-term money financing development and building resilience. I shan't go into all of the details because we don't have the time, but suffice it to say that we are committed to the twin battle of saving people and planet, and to ask us to do anything else is a false construct that does not work. The markets have to be educated as to why long-term capital is the only salvation for developing countries and ultimately for people and planet. And my friends, year after year, we talk about the need for global moral strategic leadership. I shan't go into all of the details, but in my own region, in Africa, in Latin America, in the Pacific, there are too many examples where we fall short. And I speak specifically now first and foremost about Haiti. The world owes Haiti a resolution. It is not a matter of options. The world owes Haiti a resolution. A year ago, we knew that the gas riots had led to serious instability. And 12 months later, we cannot get out of this building and into the support that the people of Haiti need. There is no doubt a need for a legitimacy with respect to the government of Haiti, and therefore a national unity government may well be the only bridge that can carry us to safety. The Caribbean community has appointed 3 former prime ministers as an eminent persons group. And as we heard the Secretary General say in this hall, politics is the art of compromise. Diplomacy is the art of compromise. I say simply to those who act in the name of the people of Haiti, there must be compromise in constituting that government of national unity if we are to provide the bridge, to provide the security, to stop women from being raped, stop people from being killed, stop people from being affected by cholera and other public health diseases. But even when we put in the institutional support that Haiti may need, and I want to thank the governments of Kenya and Rwanda, who from as far back as 12 months ago committed to being able to provide the kind of institutional support and leadership that the Haitian police need. But as they did that commitment, what they have not necessarily accounted for is the continued reduction in the numbers of the police, largely because of persons fleeing to lands of greater opportunity and being facilitated in so doing. This cannot wait much longer. And I hope that those who constitute the members of the Security Council will recognize that they cannot use Haiti as a pawn, because they have suffered for too long and by the hands of too many. I return now to the issue of Cuba. That Cuba can help so many in this world and yet be the continued victim of a blockade of over 60 years, but worse than that, a designation as a state sponsor of terrorism is wrong, wrong, wrong. We left Cuba last week. And what the people of Cuba are being asked to face on a daily basis because of a designation by a dying presidency is wrong. And the voices of the global community, many of whom have been the beneficiaries of Cuban assistance, need to stand united and to be able to say that we cannot fight these battles when we need all hands on deck to save the planet. The artificial division of who is right and who is wrong and who is good and who is bad in the eyes of those who are powerful cannot continue to be the way in which this world functions. And let us go to Venezuela. Oil is likely, oil prices, to go over $100. And those small countries who do not produce oil will be the victims of it, as will be our people, including in large countries like the United States of America. We must bring resolution to these issues. And it is not incapable of resolution. When the United States of America and many countries in Europe determined that they were recognizing President Guaido without there being a presidency for him to assume because he faced no election, the members of the Caribbean community came to this august institution and met with the Secretary General and met with a number of countries. And little by little, we saw people apply their hearts to wisdom and to recognize that the Charter of the United Nations did not allow for that kind of unconstitutional conferral of presidency on anyone. I say today that there must be transparency. It cannot be that the Caribbean community that needs a mechanism for stabilization in an energy crisis cannot have access to the concessionary prices that the government and people of Venezuela are prepared to make available to its neighbors to minimize the suffering. How is it possible for Chevron and the European Union to access the oil and gas of Venezuela, but the people of the Caribbean cannot access it at the 35% discount offered by the people of Venezuela?
This man is making so much sense.
How is it possible that we should have to carry a cost of an additional 4% of GDP in my own country simply because the rules that allow for one do not allow for the other?
Exactly.
There must be transparency and there must be moral strategic leadership if we are to build the team to save the planet and to save and attain the SDGs in today's world. My friends, there are many other things that we can discuss. We support the United Nations accepting the responsibility for tax. Why? Because as quickly as the world has been able to find a mechanism for a global minimum corporate tax is as long as it has not found a mechanism to be able to inflate the financing opportunities available to developing countries. It cannot be. We know how to run fast in one set of circumstances when it suits one set of people,
Exactly.
but yet we run very slow when it matters to billions of people and their access to life and livelihood. I do not want to prey on your time anymore, but suffice it to say that we have reached a point where we must give thanks for the progress made, but recommit ourselves. For the mission was never simply to make progress. The mission is to be able to save the planet and to give the people of the world the best opportunity for life that is necessary for them as human beings. To be able to save the biodiversity of this world. To be able to save the soils of this world that must nurture the food that we eat. To be able to allow us to have access to safe water. And if we don't change how we do our business, if we don't recognize that the Security Council needs to put itself in a position not to speak to climate change, but to protect us against the climate crisis, because it is as much of a crisis as the war in Ukraine or the wars in Africa or the instability and conflict elsewhere in the world. And if we don't take a proactive approach, then we truly shall be victims of it. I believe that reform is critical at this point. But what I believe doesn't matter. What matters is the action of each and every country in this. And will we always be in a position of flux? No. There is hope because human beings want to survive. But the problem is that those whose actions we most need may be so confident in their survival that they do not act early enough for us. And that is why I say, will we trod the road to be able to get to the gates only to find that we are too late and the gates have closed? It will be open for some, but it will be closed for many. You know, vision without action, Nelson Mandela told us, is just a dream. An action without vision just passes the time. But vision with action can change the world. Our citizens believe that we come into a talk shop when we come here. You and I know that it's potentially different, but it will only be different when those of you who have the responsibility to act on behalf of governments can ask your governments to come to the point of the decisions that we need to make to provide the funding, the tools, and the solidarity, rebuilding the trust that this debate calls for. And if we can do that, then we will not save all, but we can save the majority of people who are currently on the front line. We, for those of us who work on the SDGs, believe that as we work to save the planet, we have to redouble our efforts. And I leave you with one thing. The efforts to provide education and to save people from hunger and to remove gender discrimination are not simply the actions of governments. They have now equally to be the actions of individual citizens. But governments must help personalize those SDG goals for their citizens. If we can do that and we can continue to make the case for finance, and if we can continue to stay focused on the climate crisis, then yes, we shall see a better world and we can shine the light on the future of many. I thank you.
Mic
On behalf
drop.
of the Assembly,
Mic drop. Oh, now women go save this world. Hey, hey, all the women with common sense, please wear your cape so we have a word to rescue. Hey, see this woman's speech now. Can you compare this speech to any other speech? Can you please? Can you just compare? More than compare. Hey God, oh. School not be scam. Oh, Kai. See as this woman come, seem like common sense resolution with empathy, you know, breaking it down so every even baby self go hear, go understand wetin the woman dey talk. Hey! Na wow, God abeg, save us. Thank you so much, Kene. Welcome. Oh, I'm telling you, thank you so much for sharing the video with me. I really appreciate it, man. Ah, a new Nigeria is possible. A new Nigeria, look at a new Nigeria is possible. We cannot give up. That's one thing I know. We just cannot. Giving up is not gonna. It's not an option. We can't think about it. We can't even consider. We can't consider. We have to keep talking until talk don't become. In fact, talk don't become action. Because I was I think I saw a video. Is it a video? No, I think on Horizons they were saying that is it on Horizons or APC? That increase that they did to 35, I think the additional 35,000 for minimum wage. Do you know it was on Twitter Spaces conversation that they picked that up? Telling you guys, these people, talking helps. So in case you have not been talking, please make talking because the generation we are in now, with the country you come from, you cannot afford to be silent. You have to be talking. You have to be, everybody need to be journalists right now. Everybody. How many people they want cash? Hey, God abeg. Well, thank you very much, Ijedima, for the super chat. I really appreciate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. Abeg, the woman finish working. Hey, wow. E get one video when I wan play for una. Make una see, make una hear too. Make hopefully the thing go spread because yeah, some kind things you go see some kind things you go wonder. Make una pay at ten tion to dis video. Make una see una national security adviser Nuru, no be Nuru Ribadu dem dey call am. Come na here o.
Guys, you need to see the National Security Advisor of Nigeria, Nuhu Ribadu, almost begging these British guys and Americans that are funding terrorists and banditry in the northeast of Nigeria. You need to watch this video, then I will explain.
The cause of all the other problems, it must be given priority. And let's stop these terrorists, let's stop these bandits, let's stop these extremists. Let's stop them. The world can do it. Let us be given back our freedom. We want to live like the rest of the world. They have robbed us of our freedom of doing basic things.
Seeing that video, I was so touched and shocked. It means that there are still some Nigerians that have Nigeria at heart. But for me personally, right, Nuhu Ribadu is being politically naive. He seems not to have experience of what is going on. The President Bola Tinubu might have given him that position out of their relationship or trust, right? He's the National Security Advisor of Nigeria. And what he displayed there was his emotion. He knows something is going on. He knows the people behind it, but he's always almost holding himself back not to say anything. And that tells me the level of rot that is going on in Nigeria, particularly some of the elites that have been working with these syndicates, some of these multinational corporations that have been funding some syndicates and elites in Nigeria to supervise these illegal activities they are doing in Nigeria and on the continent of Africa. But let's mark this down, guys. I'm not a prophet. I want you guys to mark it down. Today is 1st October 2023. It is very likely that Nuhu Ribadu might lose his job. Although he's trying to do the right thing, a lot of pressure might be put on the Nigerian President Bola Tinubu to remove him from office. And I'm not just saying this because I want this to happen, but this is what might happen. I'm not even saying this will happen. And you guys can mark my word on this. I will not be wrong on this. If he doesn't rein himself in and just keep quiet like they expect him to do, they are going to silence him. They are going to remove him from the office. Because he is genuinely, there's a lot of rot within Nigeria and in Africa. A lot of these guys have a lot of connections. The syndicates are working. Look, it's a chain kind of stuff, from the arms movement into the region to the sponsoring of some of these bandits or groups that are guiding the minds. Look, it's about resources. People think it's about ideology, but it's not about ideology. It's about the exploitation of African resources. This thing happening in Lake Chad is the presence of our neighboring country, Chad. And we know the people that have occupied Chad. Last 2 months, a French soldier shot and unalived a Chadian soldier, and nothing happened. They didn't even say a word about it. So they own that country. And it's not about the French, because the French get a lot of slack, but it's not just about the French. The Americans are so much ingrained in this. The Americans are the ones as well that have been loading the region with arms. So the war in Libya did not just happen because of France. It happened with the help of America. America gave them the green light, and they decided they were going to share the proceeds of whatever came out of the destruction of Libya. That is the same thing they are trying to do to Chad. And the Chadians, since they are keeping quiet now, they are just managing them. So that anytime a leader comes in place and they don't like, they will remove him. But they have been funding this area with a lot of weapons, loading weapons into the region in order for them to have, and they don't even want to pay for these resources. This is not something they are interested in paying for. They just want to have access to the resources, take it illegally because it is cheaper, it is less expensive. Just imagine the cost they were buying uranium in Niger, 80 cents to the actual international price, which was about 200 euros. So this will not end soon, and I fear for Ribadu because the guy is taking a bold step to try to say something. If you look at that video carefully, you say he's trying to say something, but he's holding himself back. He's reining himself in, and he's almost crying not to say it. And those guys were looking at him and saying, well, who is this guy? He's all over the place. He's inexperienced. And we are going to fire him very soon because they own Nigeria. They own the leadership of Nigeria. And if you see the posture of Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, sitting down with these British or American delegates that are key stakeholders in whatever is going on in the region, and you look, he sits down like a boy,
Exactly.
and they know they are the masters.
Right.
Look at the setup. This problem will not be resolved anytime soon if we continue to have this kind of governments in place that have been brought into power by them. And only through revolution like what happened in Niger can we be able to clean up the system a little bit. I'm not saying that to be the silver bullet, but these guys are entrenched. They own the country. They control the resources. They own and control some of these boys that are causing a lot of mayhem in the region. Ado Aliru, Bello Turuchi, Dan Keremi, some of these guys in Zamfara, in Castina, in Niger State, in Boronu. I've had enough of these guys.
Man, see the guy posture, for crying out loud. He be like small boy. You look like small boy. Hey God. That na your national security advisor. See as they beg those people, they tell them. See as they sit down, they look am. For their head, you can imagine what they are thinking. They're probably saying a lot of end words. Probably saying it will all fall on deaf ears. In fact, we have to find another way to even heighten and worsen it. That's what they're thinking in there. That's probably what's going on in their head. My people, you see why you can't be silent? You cannot. I know who won't talk say our talking never gets effect. Who won't talk am? If to say, do you know what is going on in other Africa? E be like say people no understand wetin dey go on for other African countries. There are countries where the people they've been so shut down, they can't talk. There's literally a genocide going on in Cameroon, actually, between Francophone and Anglophone Cameroon. The people cannot speak because they literally watch them, and when they see that you're speaking, they find ways. They'll just go to the person's family house and just wipe it all out, right? Because they're not many of them. Even their journalists are on the run. I mean, it's crazy, guys. We cannot be quiet, though. You see this Nigeria matter, eh? Oh my God. We need to tie wrapper. If you need to take a break, please, by all means, because I did. I had to shut down and just take a long break. There's nothing wrong with it, right? You rest, get your strength back, and come back. But what we're not gonna do is be silent. We can't be quiet. We literally are on the verge of getting back this country. You see the monumental embarrassment and disgrace, walking disgrace. I'm waiting for Chicago to release the paper, so I'm probably going to come back later on in the evening. I want them to, I'm waiting for it. I've been watching to see if anything has dropped. Waiting there inside those school records, we want to see them. They've been trying to negotiate with Article's lawyers to move the deposition from 10 a.m. to 12 noon the next day. Those ones say, lie, nothing. The judge has said, don't come back to this court to ask for motion to set aside the ability to call am. Don't come back to my courtroom. Hey, put the judges side by side. The ancestors of the people that gave the right judgment in Chicago, now they colonize una wear the ancient wig put for head with filthy wigs and gowns. Oh my goodness. Oh, I cha. Who do all this thing for Nigeria? Eh? Hey, God abeg. On top of that one, South Africans dey deal with us on the one side. There's an organization called, is it I don't even know what, whether it's Dudu or Dudu, I can't remember. Some organization in South Africa, they just dey kpai Nigerians like mosquito. Ghanaians too, since 2019, and Ghanaians dey kpai Nigerians everywhere we go. My people, we can't be quiet oh. Only one country we get, we go nowhere. Yeah, they try to shift the position. Yeah, Atlantic, welcome oh Atlantic. Yeah, Atiku's lawyers refuse. Good. That's how it should be. They're shopping for technicalities. I saw it, I read it. They've approached 3 appeal courts in Nigeria, but the court today we must see wetin dey inside. Na transgender we wan know. We don't have anything against you if you are transgender o, but we wan know wetin dey inside this president. We will know wetin dey do. You see, lis ten to Peter Obi's interview today, it's true. This man, you don't have to be educated to achieve what you've achieved in life. Why lie about it? Why make believe you are on the dean's list, you are the most sought after? What did he not say? Okay, let us see now how well we succeeded in the school. Let's see the first. If me get first class, forget that thing. They don't even need to ask me. I don't show am now, sharp. Hey, even if na third class you get, wetin dey inside? Some of us, when we dey go university, we not serious. Na play we go play for school. When you dey enter school at the age of 18, 20, 21, wetin you sabi? Na to go play. Na some of us get for head. Do you understand? There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's a battle scar. You came through. See what you did with yourself. You understand? Even after getting the third class. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. You don't have to be educated to have empathy for people. You don't have to be educated to want to do good for your people. You don't have to be educated to be a human being, for crying out loud. How can one person be so controversial? Nobody knows who his parents are. Nobody knows his siblings. Nobody is certain where he comes from. Look at the people that he claims that he comes from, debunking it, saying that it is one old man that brought one old man that introduced. Where did he come from? Nobody can speak to it. Nobody. And yet you finding their minions running around on all the spaces, all the platforms, trying to justify rubbish and nonsense. And you wonder, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong? We must see wetin dey inside though, Amaka. Bring it out, make we see. Let's see it. Me, I wan know. Me wan see am. We have interest in it. Sotey I don pally journalist when dey write. He went to CSU. He graduated from CSU. I think he was the president of the magazine, or the article in school in CSU at the time. So he's writing an article about CSU. He did a write-up. I don pally the guy. Hey, Egbami, on top this matter, I'm telling you. Hey, my people, Nigerians, you are now journalists now. You are freelance journalists. Forget that thing. You be the journalist now. Nobody's going to tell your story but you. No Nigerian can be sitting on the edge. You see, the power of the people is bigger and more powerful than the power of the few. That's what we're seeing playing out. You are the journalists. You tell your own freaking story. I'm telling you, because these people don't want to let up. You have to let them know. We buy here, we pin here, we go nowhere. Look at what the well-meaning, the obedient movement so far has been able to achieve. We've become the biggest opposition. We don't shake, we shake them. You know, I say they put this thing, when you put, what do they call them? Garri. When you fry garri finish, you wan sift the cocoa from the fine garri. You put am for that something wey be like basket. Shake the thing. That's what we've done successfully. Do you understand? That's what we've done. Look at what David Udeni, that man na real David, that be name. They name am well. David and Goliath. See, David dey use stones say they take down Goliath. See wetin he don do. Tinubu. See wetin little David don't bring giant down. See the shaking when this go. So they threaten, dem don go pali president of Ghana make dem try smuggle David into Nigeria. David do video everywhere dey hot for Twitter. We say Nibo, the only eye wey we get, you go nowhere, all of us follow go together. Come and see now. So tey the guy show for UN where people never reach, where their fathers and their great grandfathers never reach. David reach am. David reach am. You see, the citizens have to become journalists. You have to be a snitch now for your government. That's what it means. Because we don't have a government, we don't have structures, we don't have anything. Look at how people are just being deleted every day in Nigeria. Every day, bye, like seeing a mosquito. See the innocent young girl, upcoming young girl, when they just take a life like that. The enter one chance, they push am out. By the time they rush the girl go hospital refuse to treat the girl. I mean, come on. Nigeria don become turn by turn. And people dey protest Mohbad. Then I saw a video of where I think where na Shomolu or the one place like that. See the crowd that dey protest the guy passing. My question, my mind just say, imagine if every state people come out like this. How many police people want to come? How many people? People no dey live anymore now. See the useless NLC one when Nigerians say they get. Then they do boju. They be like children when they play for sand. Yeah? They do hide and seek. I want to protest, I don't want to protest. Once the government tell them say they'll give them 5 kobo, they go hold the protest. I never see. What kind of organization is that? They don't even know what they stand for. Waving, wobbling like yo-yo, like jello in a can. Anywhere you shake am, the thing will be. I never see. No. Nigerians, you can't be quiet. You see this fight? We fight it for the end. We must see it to the end. You see this fight? We must fight it to the end. We must collect what is ours back. We are not like anywhere. You don't have friends. Nigerians, you do not have friends. Please know this. Know this and know peace. You don't have friends. On top of it, your government is maltreating you. Where do you hide? Where everywhere? Everybody will pursue you. Where do you put your head? You gotta fight to get your home back. You have to. Ghana not like you. Ghana will be your say brother and sister. You know how many Ghanaians in Nigeria? In my school, I went to the primary school, secondary school I went to, and university I went to in Nigeria. I had Ghanaian teachers and professors and lecturers. I had them brekete. They do wetin dem dey like. They sell market. They do. In fact, the person when they the hairstylist when they do my hair for Lagos that time, na Ghanaian man na him get am. Na the man dey sometimes he dey even do my hair. Ghanaian man. We have, I would say, if we never reach 1 million of Ghanaians for Nigeria, how many Nigerians dey Ghana? The small ones wey still dey there, they no dey give them peace of mind. South Africa no dey give them. In fact, they even get group wey dey look for Nigerians to kpai. Are we all right? We dey okay? We need to know. It's the high time you know that you don't have friends. The sooner you know you don't have friends, the better for you. The better for you. None of these other Africa. I don't know about other Africa. I haven't heard anything yet about other Africa, but a lot of African countries are afraid. They're threatened by us because of the way we think they do things. When we with sabi, anywhere we go, we dey show our sabiness. We dey reveal ourselves. We can't help it because it's who we are. But they don't like it. How many in South Africa, Nigerians help South Africa? I remember that time I go school with South Africans from ANC for university. I had classmates that were from South Africa. You will never hear South Africa say, Nigeria is supposed. I never see them. It's so disheartening. You see Ghana, all the fight when they don't fight for Africa. Now Nigerians, they always send ECOMOG soldiers. Go and help you, go and help them. They need money, they go. Railway, not being boo do to Niger. How many you do for Nigeria? Well, my people, I will leave it here for now. We will come back later. Because that wetin dey inside that efo, we must see am. Kokoro tó wà nínú ẹ̀fọ́ yẹn, we must bring it out. Má dàbọ̀lè, màmọ́sirẹ́ ló sọ́ọ̀lè. We must use our eye take see am. So my people, I dey come back. So I'll leave it here for now. I'm telling you, Amaka, the man is for absolute. If there is any word that is worse than useless, abeg, na that word na fit am. Yeah, Jedima, that's right. The pen is mightier than the sword. Man, if ever I believed it, now this time, obedience. No, I salute each and every one of una. Una be the real soldiers. Una be the real opposition. You don't want to see. You want to see what opposition looks like? Look at the obedient movement. Just don't look any further. Look at the obedient movement. There's no leader. Everybody's just organic, doing their own thing. My people, you can leave am for here. We go come back again. This one, you no get as you want to go. That matter, that paper, that record, we must zanzan the thing. We must look wetin dey inside well well. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for the super chat. So I really, really appreciate. Ijedima, thank you so much. Mr. Chike, thank you. Kene, thank you very much. You're highly favored. Everyone that was able to join me today, I love you all. I appreciate you. It's such a pleasure to be back. We must keep speaking. Absolutely. Fighting to educate our people back home. We must. That's a must. That's a must. They are scared. Yeah, if dem like make dem scare, if dem like make dem scare, who scare help? No be everyday pipo dey die. Everyday pipo dey kpai for Nigeria now. If you check again now, today dem don kpai pipo. Abeg, nothing to scare. Na agbado pipo, they are scared, they are afraid. They're just putting up a brave front, but nothing. Na breeze na e dey, nothing. They are afraid of what's coming out. They are here for it. Notice all of them don quiet, they are silent, they don hush. They don dey shop for technicality, they no see. The thing don hang for air, don hang for pole. I'm telling you, yes, so now or never, Nigeria must be better in our generation. Exactly. Thank you very much, Kenny. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Please don't forget to like on your way out. Whoa. Thank you. Oh boy.